Well, let's delve into the days that, or the main political news of the day with my panel, Liberal MP Tim Wilson from the Labor Party, Peter Murphy. Thanks both for your time. Interesting to read the latest sort of budget musings, if you like, Peter Murphy. Money left over from JobKeeper, it's going to be ploughed into things including the NDIS, childcare, aged care as well. That sounds right up Labor's alley. Do you disagree with any of this?
Oh, I absolutely think that NDIS and childcare and aged care need money put into them and need a lot of very important structural reforms as well. It's always important, though, of course, with the Morrison government to get the full detail of the announcement to see what they're actually doing, because we have had a number of announcements in those areas before that when you actually look at the detail where the devil is, they don't deliver what the promise is. You know, the childcare policy announced over the last few days turns out doesn't start for another 12 months. And a lot of Australians miss out, and those with one child don't even know if they're going to be covered. So let's just wait and see what they not just announce, but what they actually do.
Interested in your thoughts, Tim, on debt. Are you worried about our long-term capacity to pay down debt? Once upon a time, it was a Liberal mantra.
It is still, I think, fundamentally is a Liberal mantra, but we're also adjusting to circumstances. We went into this crisis with comparatively a low level of debt and a relatively fiscally responsible position with a clear commitment for repaying existing debt over the next few years and to be able to continue to do out to the end of the decade. Obviously, coronavirus has shifted that, but I do think we ultimately want to see us get back to a position where we're not just on a sustainable financial position, but then in a position to repay debt, because I don't think in any way, shape or form I have given up on my commitment to fiscal prudence and responsibility, and I'm sure that's the view of my colleagues, least because what this crisis has proven is how much more you're in a position to help the population if you've been responsible in the good years and how much of a dividend that can do to carry you through the difficult periods.
You might be father of the house by the time the debt's being paid off in a meaningful way. Maybe I'll still be talking to you, who knows. Economic predictions, though, are pretty good right now, Peter. A booming economy, essentially. Labor's task at the next election, it's looking increasingly hard, isn't it? The economy's improving so much. What's Labor going to run on?
Some parts of the economy are improving, but for a lot of people, life is still a significant struggle and they feel forgotten and left behind. And again, what we'll run on is not just making big announcements, but actually delivering what the community needs. You know, we've heard another announcement from the Prime Minister about a National Resilience Agency when there's $4 billion worth of funding that was announced 2 years ago, which hasn't been spent. You know, and this is a government that has been tainted by sports rorts and $30 million for 3 million worth of land in airports and waste, and JobKeeper going to big businesses and not being asked to pay it back, but yet average Australians who got overpaid by Centrelink being hounded to the ends of the earth. There is a lot that this is not going right in this country, and Labor always has and will have a lot of great policies to address that in an election.
Tim, final question on the budget. One priority seemingly not there is to bring forward the final phase of the income tax cuts. Do you agree with that priority or it not being a priority?
Well, as you know, Tom, I've always been in favour of tax cuts, no matter what very much the circumstances. But, you know, going back to your point before about sustainable financial position, we have to make sure that these decisions are done where they're sustainable, because we don't want to give on one hand and take away. So those are obviously the things that are going to be considered in the budget. What is sustainable to provide the support and assistance Australians need, while also reducing the tax burden, both in terms of bracket creep and also making sure we keep revenue as a percentage of GDP as low as we can, because in the end, Liberals believe in empowering individuals and families and communities, the foundation of the success of the country, not empowering Canberra to dictate terms and make people conform to what comes out of Canberra. So these will be considered. Of course, I'll always support a tax cut, but it needs to be done in a prudent and responsible way for the long-term health of the budget and, of course, for our debt position as well.
Even though tax to GDP has been quite high under your government. Maybe we'll thrash that out another day.